Hi, it's you and Ellery here making bonsai in Australia, and in this video I'm going to do some work on this Serissa. So at the moment it is quite a bit of a clumpy Serissa, so I did a video a bit over 4 months ago where I actually did the first work on this, and initially it was really just a bit of a repotting. I'd gotten it in a pot that had a lot of air in it, wasn't really potted that well, so I just wanted to get it in some soil. I wasn't sure how how much of this clump would actually survive, so I'd kind of just thrown it in here just to see what would survive, and then plan was to work with it from then. So you can check out that video if you're interested, but as you can see, it has actually done quite well in the last 4 months, and all of the other little cuttings that I took off it as well have done quite well. So what I'm going to do is really look at trying to prune it back, and getting something that I can kind of work with. Now it does have, because it is really clumpy, so if I were to be pruning it back, I'd be pruning it back quite severely and getting rid of some of this just all of those branches in there. So I did have a go when I originally repotted it at trying to break it apart, but it's kind of it's all kind of merged in there together. So I'm actually gonna repot this today, just so I can really try and, now that I know that the environment I've got it in, the way I kind of treat these, they can survive quite well. So I'm really going to have a go at trying to break apart some of the branches down here, so I can have them more as individual rather than a bit of a messy clump. So I'll start working on that now. Okay. So the roots have actually gotten quite prolific just in that 4-month period. Quite a lot of root mass. Wasn't expecting to be able to pick out the whole all of the soil in the pot just with the root mass that's kind of taken off there. Get rid of some of that moss, keep that foetida. So I normally wouldn't be repotting the plants 4 months after doing the initial repotting, but I really want to, now that I know it's survived, I want to see what I can work with and try and get a bit of better progress towards having this as a or multiple bonsai. So I've already got one out there. So you can see down on the at the base there is where they all seem to be kind of merging together from. So I might rinse off the soil just to see what I'm working with down there. Yeah, so it's really just a whole mass of intertwined little parts here. So I'm going to try and start getting rid of some of all of the intertwining pieces. yeah, so they grow suckers off the roots, which is one of the reasons why it's also intertwined. Yeah, so that root there, so it's just coming out of this mass there, and yeah, there's not much coming off it, but I'm just trying to separate this part here now. This part seems to be, yeah, so it's merges onto the root right down the bottom here, but the rest of it seems to have a lot more kind of root mass going, and the roots coming off this part are a lot higher up, so let's see about just cutting it here. Yep. Okay. And yeah, the rest of it's kind of just this big clump. So break those bits off. Oops, break that off too. And this part here, yeah, it's quite, it's another separate loose part there. Jeez. This part here I actually quite like the way that kind of looks with all of those kind of, yeah, the different branches coming off the roots. It's quite interesting. So I might just replant that part there as its own. So I'm just going to decide, yeah, I had this giant pot, which I'll probably put some of it back in. It's just deciding whether I go, what part I go with. And I think I'll do this part. Yeah, having it in that big pot should give it a lot of room to grow. Should get quite a bit of interest out of that. This one I can put in another pot and see the largest piece. All of those other bits I'll just throw into random bits and pots here and there. So for now, that little sucker I can get rid of. That'll clearly be the front, so don't want that branch that's poking out in front. Looks like that branch there was dead, and I think the same for this one here. Just clean that up a little. And there's another branch in the back there that's dead. A lot of these, they're yeah, they were just cut back quite severely at some point. I'm trying to get rid of the plant. I believe it was kind of growing as a weed in the yard, so yeah, it's just kind of shot back to various points. And now the bits have died off. and bring this back to where it's got a branch. This bit I'll get rid of. So I think I kind of want it leaning over a little bit just because of structure of these roots. Just got to figure out which parts of these branches I want to keep. This I'll get rid of. Looks like that part's dead. Should have used a better pair of scissors for that. This branch is just coming forward. Same seems to be the case for everything coming off. This branch in the back has this little one that's coming forward too. You can get rid of that. And this branch here, which is in the front, everything seems to be jutting out straight forward on that, so I'll prune it back. I'm not going to wire at this stage. All of these branches that have come out, they're a bit too small for now, but hopefully pruning it back I'll get a bit more variation in where the branches are going in as it butts back. This branch, get rid of, just in favour of the leader on that. Thin it back. And then, just kind of do a bit of a profile prune. Cool. Alright, so I'll put that in a pot and then I'll start working on these outlets. I might just quickly rinse the roots and all of these others before I proceed, just so they keep healthy. So put this soil back in my pot. Now before I do go ahead with that, I might just prune back some of these roots a little bit more. So I want some of those roots to be exposed, but I don't want them being too long. I want a bit of a root plane coming out at this level with time. And just get it in the pot so it's sitting the way I want it. So just sitting so it's kind of got that in the front. Put some of this moss back in. Right. And I'll give that a bit of a water and then I'll come back to work on the rest. I might just quickly prune this little one for now. Actually, just do a bit of a profile prune, get a bit of ramification going. Not doing anything crazy yet. So just getting rid of those longer branches. I'll keep these lower one downs for now. They'll just give me a bit of option later on. And just work on developing a bit of taper. So the next one I want to do is work on this big one here. So now obviously the most character is kind of from that view there. So I'll start working with that. Now, this part where I cut off the branch, just want to keep that from now, just in case it'll bud back there. But I'll just try and make it look not quite so smooth, just in case, you know, it ends up just surfacing as a bit of a gin. And there's a bunch of roots and a few little sucker bits coming up right behind it, so I'll keep those roots. Don't have too many roots on this one, so keep whatever I can. Roots coming up all the way from the top of the trunk, however, I'll get rid of those, just because this was all submerged previously. A little bit of a dead branch there. And this is where I probably will employ a bit of wiring. Just to kind of get this branch to kind of stick out a little bit further. Otherwise all of these are kind of, they were forced into this close proximity with the last one. Well, with all the clump, but now that it's not a big clump, I can kind of spread them out a little. And there is this root which kind of comes all the way from the top, but you know, adds a little bit of character, so I'll keep that. I will just clean this back a little. And I'll get some wire. Shit. Accidentally just broke that off, so hopefully that'll shoot back. But yeah, so just using the that thicker part of the, if I try wiring that part, it'll probably just end up breaking off as well, so just trying to use the thicker part of that branch to wire it down a little. And I'll prune this back here just in the hopes that there's a more outward facing branch that buds off. Cleaning that off. And so just put it in a pot. Yeah, not being too selective with the pot at this stage, but again, just yeah, a slightly larger pot just to give it a bit more room. just moisten those roots. And again, I don't want these roots to be too long, so prune those back and put in a little bit more soil and throw this in. So just trying to get those roots into a position where as they grow and as they thicken, they'll be growing more radially rather than, hopefully avoiding them needing to be roots that I prune off in future. And I'll water that as well and move on to the rest. Not a huge amount to work with these. I'm really just going to throw them all into a pot. Kind of broke them off, they're much smaller. They should survive just based on the previous ones. But yeah, just going to throw them into a pot. Let them decide how they go. And yeah, time will tell, and then yeah, I'll probably leave them in here for at least a year, probably a lot more before I finally do a proper repotting. Keep some of that interesting characteristic in the roots, just to provide future options. We'll just prune them all back a bit. So no leaves where I pruned that back to, but there are little, there have been leaves coming out of that in the past, so it should shoot back okay. Yeah, and there's a bunch that are, I don't know, like I could keep them, but, don't know, I've got quite a few of these, and I'm sure I'll get more suckers coming off in time, so, just going to keep the ones that look like there's a little bit more to work with. Or at least some kind of, characteristic element to the roots or the trunk. So that's the work done on these Serissas for now. So yeah, really just broke that down, giving me a lot more little plants to work with in future, a lot less just random noise to the clump that I had, and it still looks like, this one for instance, it'll still look a little bit clumpy, but you'll actually be able to pay attention to the individual branches rather than just a big knotted mayhem. So yeah, look, I hope you enjoyed this video or took something from it. If you have, then please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel to be notified of future videos as I release them. But look, thanks for your time today. Enjoy. Bye.